Hi, this video is going to show you how to use the examination module. I'm actually logged in and using Blink twice on this particular demo, but it's pretty much the same on the full Blink Again system for main examinations. So I've got my patient selected here, and on the left-hand menu, I'm going to go into New Examination and then Full Exam. Okay, so it's quite a comprehensive examination form. First of all, at the top, we can start by entering a date. If, for example, the examination was actually conducted yesterday, we could put in yesterday's date. It selects the location and the staff member. Obviously, if you've got multiple staff members set up for conducting examinations, it will default to be the logged in member, but you can obviously change it if you're an admin user. You can tick the box here to say whether it's an external prescription. I'm just going to carry on as if it was carried out in the practice. So obviously we've got the patient information summarised here. And then next we go down to the history and symptoms section. So you can enter reason for visits, general health, family health, ocular health, and so on. And as with many aspects of Blink, the main aim is to keep things as simple and as quick and easy to use as possible. So we do have some defaults set up. If you hover your mouse over each of these labels to the left of the fields, you can see what the default is. And if you click on Set Default, it will populate the box for you. On Blink twice, those defaults are configured and set by the system, but on the Blink Again system, they are individual to each particular practice, so let me know if you want any of those changing. So I can set up and add some defaults, or obviously I can enter some text for something different that I want to enter for a particular patient. Scrolling down, we've got the medication section, so we can specify any particular medication that this patient may be on. So if I just select a couple of those. We have a shortcut here to view the MIMS website for drug and pharmaceutical information. Tick boxes to specify whether the patient has glaucoma or is diabetic. And we can obviously add some other notes. Here are just some shortcuts to open up additional screens for changing and updating lifestyle notes or to view the patient's previous examination. In the ophthalmoscopy and external examination section, I'm just scrolling down. I should say, if you don't want to enter data into any of these, just clicking on the title bar will just hide it from view. So it just immediately eliminates it and just reduces the content of the screen, which you might find useful if you're not entering data into either of these. But yeah, obviously, again, we've got some options to set some defaults. So double click this particular field with these particular fields that specify, and you can set the default. Each of the eye informations is set up with a series of options and drop-down lists. So obviously you can select what's relevant, and if anything needs to be added or removed from that list, then again I can tailor that to your specific practice needs on the Blink Again system. If I want to copy the right eye data straight into the left eye, I can click on the shortcut there, which will immediately do that. On the right hand side of this section here, we've got some eye images and lens shapes and so on. You can put some markers on each of these graphics and then write a small note, a short note, if you wanted to explain something that you want to highlight in that particular examination. Okay, so in further investigative techniques, again, as I mentioned earlier, we do try to speed up the process. So we've got various defaults in place. I want to click all fine, for example, with the CT with RX. Some defaults immediately appear. Same for CT without RX. The pre-IOP and the post-IOP fields, if I double click the time, it will automatically enter the current time of the examination. Going down to the refraction section, we have the opportunity to enter symmetry of glasses for two existing lenses. So I may enter things in here. You'll see I'm just typing in there 125, or in this case I'll type 275, and then when I tab away from that particular field, it automatically puts in the sign and the decimal point. Again, for speed and ease of data entry, if I double click the field, it will automatically switch from a negative to a positive and vice versa. There is the option to enter the PD and BVD, and obviously a few other fields, the comments and so on. I can immediately transfer or populate the current RX from the symmetry of glasses RX immediately above. So if I click on that link there, it transfers the values straight in. If I entered some incorrect data, for example, it will highlight the text in red, and it won't allow me to save that now until I correct it. One other thing worth noting here under the prism section, if I've got a multi-directional prism, for example, up and in, I can enter values separated by /. So we've got a prism of 2 up and 5 in on the right eye. Obviously we've got the near values and the intermediate values as well. And then down at the bottom of the examination form, in the outcome section, we need to select an outcome. So if this was a new RX, and then optional, we have the option to select some recommendations, which obviously will get passed through to the dispensing optician. So these are near distance and near lenses are being recommended. Obviously we can enter a comment if we want to. And finally, the retest after is defaulting to 2 years because this patient has been set up to default to 2 years, but I could specify 18 months, 2 months, anything from the drop-down list. And when I'm happy, I can click Save, which saves the examination, gives me a summary with the option to print that if I want to, and then takes me back to the patient's summary screen. And as you can see now, below the patient's summary, we've got a summary of their prescription as well. Before we move on, I'll just show you, if you go into examination history, this patient's examination dated 13th of the 3rd is now showing in the history. We can click on that and edit it if there's something that we need to correct or add. And with regard, while we're on the subject of efficiency and time-saving devices, then if we go into, for this particular patient, if we go in, the next time we go in, I should say, and create a new examination for this patient. So if I'm now going back into full examination, this may be 12 months down the line, it has now pre-populated the examination form with the data that was recorded on their previous examination. So if obviously the patient's eyes haven't changed a great deal, and their medical history and their background hasn't changed a great deal, then I can leave everything as it is, or maybe enter an extra note saying no change. So that's the same for each of these sections. So if I'm scrolling down here, it's all the same until we come down to the refraction section, which actually has been set up so that it's not bringing in the data automatically. But if I click here to populate with the patient's previous RX, I can do that. It automatically brings it in. And again, if I want to click to populate the current RX, the subjective RX from the current RX, I can click that again and it will bring it straight down from above and save having to type it all in. So if everything's the same, I might want to say that the outcome this time is no change, specs needed, and click save. Examination is saved. Okay, so that's a very quick run through of the examination form on Blink Twice and Blink Again. Obviously on Blink Again, there is an additional form, the contact lens examination form, along with the contact lens aftercare form, and a post-op examination form and an emergency eye check form. And finally, now that this patient has got an examination on the system, if I go to printing and select RX, it now allows me to print the record card for that patient and populates the values with their current RX.